they deserved it. How did you assess the game?
I can't argue with that, really, can I? I can't argue with that. You know, what I would say is we go in and 1-0, you go in with a good goal. First 20 we were poor, gave the ball away cheaply, then got into the game, much better 20-25 minutes into half time. But you know they're going to come out, you know, and they stepped up a level, and we didn't make that change. We didn't match it in terms of the gears. But you're inviting on a very good team, didn't take care of the football second half, and you're inviting on a team packed with Premier League experience and international players. That's the simple truth of it. So.
How do you explain that in terms of QPR, your players' mentality?
We had no Lee Wallace, we had no Johan Barbe, we had no Rob Dickey, we had no Moses Adebayo, we had no Chris Willock, we had no Sini Dieng, we had no David Marshall. You're asking me to explain it and I'm trying to keep my temper. Come on. We've had the whole back line and 5 goalkeepers out. And you're saying to me, how can I explain it? I can explain it in one sentence. So I need a little bit of honesty from you as well to say that Lee Wallace, Scottish international, might match it. Nothing against Sam McCallum, who's got a great young player, but Lee Wallace, the Scottish international, Moses Pact, Rob Dickey and Johan, our first choice centre halves for the entire last 18 months, are unfit. Sini Dieng, out. David Marshall, out. Jordan Archer, out. Joe Walsh, out. Kieran Westwood, out. Come on, let's be honest.
The crowd obviously appreciate everything you've done, and the reception you got at the beginning was tremendous.
Yeah, I think the crowd have been fantastic, and I do try and use these platforms. Very rarely go on social media, but occasionally just to say it's very gratefully received and never taken for granted. You can't take support for granted, but for 3 years they've been outstanding. The support they've given us and the staff and the players has been first class. So I'm always very thankful. Paul will know how often I mention that fact. So thank you for mentioning it. But it was important, the reception. The boys earned that. They've had a lot of good things times this season, but the fans have been first class throughout. I can only speak, you know, the highest praise for the QPR fans.
The set pieces were obviously a problem today. I mean, what
yeah.
That down to?
Physicality, delivery. Didn't do our job on 2 or 3 occasions. We knew that the goal, the second goal, we'd rehearsed it yesterday. They do the same one, they square it, run round the back, and we switched off. So there's a combination of factors there, but they're very good at what they do. I just felt we invited them on by not taking care of the football, and we had to be better taking care of the football.
Do you think that the announcement obviously coming out when it did had any sort of impact on the changing room? Or?
None of that. I think the boys, it came out, and the first people that should have found out are the players. We have a close relationship. Myself, John, and the staff have a very close relationship. You work with them every day. You know, you work them all day, every day. They have to be shown trust and integrity and respect, and they reciprocate. So it's very difficult when it comes out. A lot of phone calls last night, which you have to try and fend off, but also be honest with them. We have players out of contract, and they have that uncertainty to deal with as well. So it was difficult. I'm not going to lie to that one, but it's football, so we have to learn from it and move on.
Did the players find out when we did?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, what have you made of the way it's been done? I mean, are you happy with the communication?
Yeah, that's gone now. From my point of view, I'll be very honest and say that owners write the cheques. They have that responsibility, and every club you go to as a manager or a coach, you have to be very, very respectful and mindful of that fact. You can disagree with decisions, you can criticise privately, but in public, the fact is the owners write the cheques and make the call. They're the custodians of the club, and they live and die by their decisions. So as I say, from my point of view, I never criticise an owner, because come the end of the month, they have to write the cheque for X amount of pounds.
I mean, when you look back on the 3 years you've had, you look back at it fondly, look back at it with a lot of pride.
What, here at QPR?
Yeah.
Yes, I think so. Not in an arrogant way. I think when we came in, first day we had to lose a lot of players, trim the wage bill quite significantly. I think 15 in that first window was difficult. 12, 13, 14 it was in the second window. I think they are whole-scale overhauls. But yeah, I think from where we were to where we are now, that's the manager's job. He or she must always try and leave the club in a better position, as the old cliche is. So very true. And I'm very thankful to the fans for the reception they've given and the comments they've made to suggest that they're happy with the progress we've made.
Mark, a question for you. Charlie Austin appeared to wave goodbye to the crowd. Was it his last home game for the Hoops?
Yeah, he's at, Charlie knows, everyone's very aware of the contract situation. So Charlie came on, worked tirelessly and scored a great goal tonight. So what happens now going forward obviously will be decided after the last home game. But I think he's just showing his respect to the QPR fans with whom he has a very close relationship, quite rightly so as well.
61 goals for him at the club. Is he a club legend for you?
Yeah, legend's a word that's used very too loosely these days, but I think Charlie has earned the respect, what he's done at the club, his relationship with the fans, absolutely. He deserves that tonight. Of course he wants to win a game of football. Don't think he's just coming off, it's about his goal. He's disappointed we lost the game, but you're right, he's made a massive contribution to QPR over a number of seasons, and he deserves that status with the fans.
And last question for you, do you think if you had stayed on, that you could have maybe led QPR to
That's my job.
top 6 finish next season?
That's my job. That's what the manager wants to do, and you haven't. But again, you're in a very privileged position in football. Simple as that. And I'll repeat the answer I gave to earlier on: is the fact that the owners make decisions, and you have to respect it. They're the custodians of the club. They write the checks, so you respect. Do I agree with it? That's for me to know. But it's your time here. My time has been very enjoyable, and frustrating to leave it with work still to do.
Mark, obviously, sort of 3 years with the club, and perhaps ending sooner than a lot of people would have expected. For you, next, is it going to be sort of taking time to really reflect on those few years before you sort of plot the next steps, and are you planning sort of a bit of time away from football? Well,
firstly, I think there's a lot of good people not working in football.
Sure.
There's very few jobs in football. For me personally, I've only not worked in my life once from leaving school, and that was my time for leaving Forest. I wanted a bit of time to travel around the US, MLS, but that was probably 5 or 6 months more than I'd planned. And you want to work. I think there's many managers who you can leave it too long, and so you're very quickly forgotten in football. Do I enjoy working? Yes, but I want to have go to a club where I have a chance of success. If that makes sense. Where there's plans in place to build and develop and establish a side. So I hope very much to get the opportunity. If that comes along in a day's time, great. If it comes along whenever, you have to be patient. But I think never take for granted when you work in football, because you're very, very fortunate.
Is this spell that you've had the last couple of months, is that going to hurt for a little while? I think obviously, like I said, the injury's completely out of your control. But
Yeah, I think you're very careful of making excuses. It comes across as an excuse, because other clubs will say we've got injuries as well. I think we've just been hit at a time we were quite a thin squad, and to lose a number of players like that, we've lost the entire back line of goalkeepers. Now no criticism of Dion or Sam, who are excellent young players, and so pleased with their contribution. But again, we've made wholesale changes to the team. I think in how many games? I think out of 44 games, we've changed the team 39 times. Through injury and whatever else, so it's been very, very difficult. We had 4 wing backs out for 10 to 12 weeks. That's a really challenging time. So disappointed the last 10 what was it, 2 weeks to 8-10 weeks or so, because the boys got into a really good position. We were in a really strong position, delivering good performances, and that's the frustration. But it's football, and as I say, I think in terms of a team for next season, if you carry on the work for next season, they have to be better for that experience. That has to hurt them. I talk about having no regrets. That regret from this season must burn and hurt you, because that's how you learn. You learn from your mistakes. So, yeah.
do you think QPR, from what you've learned, obviously being here, do you think they have what it takes now to go on to kick on next season?
There's good young players there tonight. I was asked a question in the other part of the media. Young Andre Gazelle, young Luke Amos, young Sam Field, compared to the experience of Norwood, Fleck and Berg. Was Berg 18-20 million pound player, whatever he was. They have experience in the Premier League and internationally, and that's where our players will get to. So I've no doubt that the Andre Gazelle and Luke Amos and Sam Field and those guys will get to that level. But at the moment, they're way behind in terms of experience and exposure at Premier League internationally. And that's how you learn. You learn by playing against them. We've got to find a way of closing the gap. We closed it earlier by moving the ball quickly, looking dangerous, creating chances and scoring. Many games, Cardiff were 1 up, missed 3 or 4 sitters. Peterborough were 1 up, missed 2 or 3 sitters. When you don't take the chances, it comes to bite you. But I think, as I say, for me, we've got QPR have got young players who will keep on developing. Rob Dickie, Sam Field, as I say, Senny's young Illy, Chrissy Willock. They've got players who will flourish, I'm sure. But it's all I can do is watch from afar and wish them all the best.
Just the last one, I suppose that the big frustrating thing is, the game against Peterborough, for example, when you had all those chances, and had you got, 2 more wins, you would have been right there, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Now, so.
Beyond frustration, many nights and heads of bags under the eyes. But I think it's that's football though. You have to learn. You can't scorn those type of chances. You can't. You think of the chances we missed against Peterborough and Cardiff, for example. Also, again, not serious. We've had 5 or 6 letters of apology from some shocking decisions. Albert's goal against Hull, Rob Dickie being dragged back against Cardiff, and they say, "Oh, sorry, it should have been a clear foul." You scored the opening goal, Cardiff, on the back of it. Those type of moments are important. And for a team, I'm saying this very respectfully, for a team with a smaller budget, you need those random moments to go your way over the course of a season.
Can I just ask you last question, Mark, you mentioned quite a few players. Ilias Chair was one of the players that caught the eye this season. How do you see the future for him?
I think he's a very passionate individual in terms of his love for the game. He loves to train, he loves to have the ball. Illy's big learning, I hope, over the last 12 to 18 months has been to how he deals with disappointment. That's a big part. How do you deal with disappointment in terms of the micro aspects of the game, giving the ball away or not getting a pass, and the bigger picture when a team loses the game, how do you deal, how do you review? He's a very talented footballer. He recognises that he wants to go and play at the highest stage possible, preferably with QPR. But to get there, you've got to keep on driving forward. He looks at someone like a Ben Rama, who was at Brentford in the Championship, then makes a big move to West Ham. And again, he has to be patient, watch it from afar, but he has to work to get to David Moyes' team and his plans. And it's tough. It's tough, but Ilias has to keep on working. Will he do that? Absolutely. He's a great kid. I've got enormous respect for Ilias Chair. Very likeable guy. Infectious enthusiasm for the game, and I hope very much he can. I've got no doubt he can make that. He can make that journey to where he wants to get to, but it's not easy.
Mark, you have done many good things for the club, and there's always been that feeling QPR are on the grow. Yes, there have been setbacks, stagnation moments, but they've always been on the grow under you. Is Ilias Chair the person, the product, if I can put it that way, that you are most proud of? Ran on loan to Stevenage, he came back, and you made him really to the player he is today.
No, Ilias Chair makes himself to the player.
He needed a manager who
and manage himself, and John and Neil and the staff. He needs a formation that suits him. It's a bit like Abire. Abire is an outstandingly talented footballer, a magnificent footballer. But again, if I came in and I played a rigid 4-4-2 and we smash it from the goalkeeper long and try and get flicker, it's not going to give him the platform to go and show what he can do. So yes, that's where certain aspects come into play. But Ilias Chair's a really talented footballer. Chrissy Willock is an outstanding footballer. He got the award tonight, fully justified. But you've got 2 very talented young guys there. Different types of players, but creative ability, finishing, assists. So that when you've got players of that quality, and you've got the likes of Rob Dickie and Sam Field, and Jimmy Dunn, and you've got Senny Dieng, and you've got other ones who have Lukey and Dozer. You've got a core nucleus of some really good players.
So you don't want to take any credit for Ilias' rise?
No, I'm just very pleased he's done well. No manager will sit up here and go, I did that. No one's going to do that. By the way, see, Chrissy Willett, that was me. No, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. I might get 20% of any sell-on, but not true. But you have to give them a platform to play. Simple as that. But they have to embrace that opportunity and take it, and they have done.
Mark, can I just ask you for your thoughts on Sheffield United, if you think they will go on to finish that final 5 spot?
They've got a very strong squad, really strong squad. So credit to Paul, to Stuart, Jack and the guys for the job they've done. There's no doubt about the quality of that squad. Look at their bringing on Conor Hourihane, in the 80, whatever it was minute. That's a very, very strong squad. A lot of experience. Look around the likes of Basham, and don't forget tonight there was no Bulldog, there was no Billy Sharp, and McGoldrick and Brewster, and Big Bernie. So I'm not saying that in a too envious a voice, I hope, but it's far from it. They've got a deep squad. They've got a deep squad. They've got Premier League experience, and they look dangerous. and they've got a passionate fan base, so they'll be right up there. But so will Blackburn, all these other teams, and Middlesbrough will all be pushing very, very hard. So it's exciting. Championship always is.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Our final one, just from me quickly. Obviously, John Eustace, someone that during his time as your assistant, I think we've been linked with quite a lot of managerial roles. You're obviously someone that worked really close with him over 3 years. Do you think he'd be ready to step into a sort of a senior role if that were offered to him here?
I'm never going to speak for John, you know that. But in terms of my opinion of John, John's outstanding. You know, John, myself, Neil, we work very, very closely together every day. Every aspect of whether it be training or, you know, the schedule or the game preparation and the team. So John's, I knew him from Watford. I was academy manager at Watford. John was a player at Watford. I could see his passion for the game, his desire to push on. I've no doubt John's got an outstanding future in the game. Right now, I very much enjoy working with him. You know, when the time's right for John to do what he wants to do, I won't stand in his way, that's for sure. I'll never support him. But right now we're working very well together, so let's see what happens.